Welcome to another edition of the Mav Call Show. I'm Mav.
I'm Carl. Howdy, howdy.
How's everybody doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
I'm doing okay, Carl.
I'd be better if I got paid. I haven't got paid yet, but it's
Money is always good.
yeah,
Our last podcast was kind of weird and creepy.
yeah. It was actually. It fits our title, strange and unusual.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That was
That was paranormal as hell.
I'd never seen
Yeah,
anything like that. You know what I mean?
right. And so that stuff's been happening since then. Like, you know what? So, okay, I came into this room earlier. Like when I opened the door, his chair turned again, and my chair was already facing the opposite way. He got me a new chair, and it swivels like his, and it was backwards. And his chair turned whenever I opened the door. And in our last podcast, I talked about this nutcracker that we got,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like 5 foot tall or whatever. And his axis turned, and it's no longer facing backwards; it's facing side to side.
Yep.
You know, and it's got this thing hanging from it, and it says "believe."
Yeah.
It's just the word "believe," and it's got like a wire that it's hanging from on the axe. But yeah, it's crazy, and I think this thing, like has attached itself to me or something, because I've had some stuff happen at work. There's this guy that I work with, and we've never spoken to each other. I've only been there a couple weeks, so I'm still meeting everybody.
Yep.
And I worked with him a few times, but we didn't say nothing to each other. So I'm at work, and I'm headed back towards the dish area, and there's this little nook, and there's the manager's office right there. Well, in this nook, in the corner, there's this little box with like some coats and stuff in it. And so I'm walking past that, and I see this guy that I work with, and he's sitting there. You know, it's pretty low to the ground. He's sitting there, and he's got his hand on his head, and he has blood on his other hand. He has blood on both of his hands, like, and you know, I walked by fast, and so I just kind of glimpsed, and I was like, wait, this dude's hurt, you know, like, so I wanted to see if he was all right, and I backed up, and I looked, he wasn't even sitting there. There was nobody there. Nobody was there, and it's just a little, like a 5x5 room, little nook, you know. And I turn around and look, and the dude's working the window. And there was nothing wrong with him at all. He was not hurt. He wasn't bleeding.
Right.
Nothing was wrong with him. And so later on in the day, I'm in the dish area doing up some dishes, you know. And right directly behind me, I'm not going to say my real name, you know, but I heard my name, and it was like, Caw! You know, it was real deep and gurgly like that. And I booked it up front. I went up front, and my eyes are big, you know, and like you could tell that something was wrong with me.
Right.
So I'm up front where there's people, and the couple managers was up there, and they're looking at me. They're like, "Are you all right?" And I was like, "I don't know." I just blurted it out. I was like, "Did you know there's a ghost in here?" they kind of poke fun at me a little bit, but then you know, I showed them the video from our last podcast. I showed it to them, and they was like, "Oh wow."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, there's a ghost in here." Well, the guy that I saw bleeding that wasn't really there, when I went back by the dish area for the second time, he came up to me, and he pulled something up on his phone. He was like, "Here, check this out." So there was a loud bang one day when he was working. This was before I started working there. And there was a real a clatter, you know what I'm saying? And it came from the dish area. So him and the manager went and reviewed the cameras and put it back a few seconds to when it happened. And he recorded the screen with his phone. And so he's like, "Here, watch this." And I'm sitting there watching, and then like 10 seconds into the video, you see all this stuff come flying off of the shelf. I was like, and that's exactly where I was standing. So I thought it was pretty weird that it was him that I saw bleeding.
Yeah.
And I've never spoke to him.
And he's the
one that showed me
that verified, yeah.
a video of where I was standing when I heard my name. And so that was kind of weird to me, man. Like, that was strange and unusual.
Oh,
you know?
yeah, absolutely.
Because, yeah, so, I mean, his dude's real cool. And we're both missing our front teeth, too. It's crazy.
Yeah.
He's real cool. He's like, we're actually kind of a lot alike, you know.
from this point on,
Oh, I don't mean to interrupt, but there's this girl I work with too, and she always works the window where the dish area is, and she kept asking that day. She was like, "Did you call my name?" And I was like, "No." And there was like 3 times she asked, "Did somebody call her name?" And that wasn't the only time I heard my name too. I heard my name a couple times, but the other couple times, I thought it was somebody out there,
yeah.
calling me to come and help them with something.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, nobody called our names. Neither one of us, man.
Yeah,
That
you
was
always
crazy.
try to make
Explain
sense
it.
of
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
You try to find an explanation, but there really is no explanation, man. Like it's paranormal. That's just all there is to it.
It is what it right. We're gonna try to get a copy of that video.
Yeah,
So
I would
that
love
we
to
can-
have that
we-
for right
we
now.
can
I should've
show
asked
that.
I should have asked them for it that day.
Yeah, so we can show that in a future podcast. We're
Yeah.
gonna try to get that video. But I mean, it is what it is when it comes to the Nutcracker. The girls.
Yeah, I honestly, I think
just-
that thing is haunted. I've got the heebie-jeebies from it the moment I set
Yeah.
my eyes on it.
Yeah. It's one of those things that you look at and you're like, oh, it's really cool and Christmassy, but I don't know.
This
There
one
was just something
seemed,
about it for me.
This one don't seem Christmassy.
But
it
now,
seems macabre.
We did get a
dark.
message from Miss Carol, Call's mom. Now
Hi, Mom.
she does a lot of stuff with like reselling and she
Yeah.
brings stuff in. But she had a good idea that when you get stuff like, because we go to the auction, we buy all kinds of stuff, to sage it before we bring it in.
Yeah, I mean, but you can not just any Joe could do that.
Kind of,
You know what I'm saying?
Kind of
Like,
cleanse
if you
it.
don't
yeah.
know what you're doing, you could, you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's stuff you have to say and all kinds of things. You know what I mean? Like you can't just be like burn some sage and be like wave it around it and say go away. It don't work like that.
You know,
You know?
she was like cleanse the items. But
If
I
you
guess-
guys only knew how much stuff, because they get a lot of stuff from these auctions, and these auctions, a lot of this stuff belong to deceased people.
more than likely.
So there could be attachments. You know what I mean?
I am very proud of myself, and in my defense, I only spent $20 last week. And on top of that, normally I'm into several $100s. So
Right.
I was pretty proud of myself.
I mean, this auction's
But-
cool though. You get a lot of stuff for just a tiny bit of money.
Yeah, I got Paul's new pod chair. It swivels, it raises up and down. It's really nice. I paid $5.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I like it too.
it looks brand spanking, like it was never used. They just
Very comfortable.
yeah, it's a really nice chair.
I no longer have a lawn chair in the bedroom.
So, but
The only thing I miss about that lawn chair is the cup holders.
but it's one of those things like I know that you can get some cool stuff, but maybe we may have to do some cleansing on certain
Yeah.
items. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean for real, and then like he was telling me earlier, he was like, "Dude, I think it's you, man."
Yeah,
But,
I do. I do
it
believe
is.
it's called.
It is to an extent. It is me because like spirits are attracted to me. I've said it a million times, but especially here because of all the stuff that belonged to deceased people.
Right.
So it's very active when I'm around. You know what I mean? And like, I never hear about anything happening when I'm not here.
Right.
Like when I'm gone at work or anything, everything's fine. But when I'm at work, it's not fine because they're calling my name and all kinds of crap. You know, it's just, some people have that. Some call it a gift, some call it a curse, some say it's your third eye being opened.
I think it's
I
more.
believe in a mixture of all of them.
I think that for some people, they're more of like a magnet.
Yeah, and
You
plus,
know what
like
I
it's
mean?
it's my bloodline too. Like that runs on both sides of my family, my mom and my dad. I gotta ask my mom more about her side.
Right.
But my dad, like I was always into that because he kind of like embedded that into us when we were growing up.
Yeah.
I'm Romanian. My people come from Transylvania. I come from a long line of like gypsies and witches and fortune tellers and things like that, and sightseers. Like I've predicted so many things. I saw 9/11 2 years before it happened. I saw Japan's tsunami, China's 7.1 earthquake. I saw a train derailment or a collision actually. It was two trains collided in Chicago and 66 people were injured and 33 died. I saw those numbers in my head when I saw it's weird. It's like a movie that plays in your head. But it seems so real. It's like I go away for a minute. It's like I'm there. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And there's so much more. I've left. I up and left my family, my daughter's mom and my daughter. I up and left and headed to California because I saw somebody in my head that I needed to save for some reason. I don't know why, but so I'm all the way out there. I didn't make it to California. I ended up in Reno, Nevada, and my bus ticket and money got stolen. But so I was sitting outside of this church on the steps, and I looked back at the church, and I was like, wait a minute, I recognize this. I recognize the church, you know.
Yeah.
It was like meant for my money to get stolen and my ticket because I was where I was supposed to be. I thought it was California, but it was Reno, Nevada, and I was there for a couple days trying to get money to get back home, and I had my guitar with me, so I was playing my guitar on the corner, you know, for change and money and whatever. And one day I saw this guy, and it's common to see what I'm about to tell you in Reno, because it's full of drug addicts and homeless people. Okay, um, there was this dude, and he was like slapping himself in the head and muttering stuff out loud and whatever,
Right.
and I recognized him. I was like, that's the guy. So I started jogging down towards him, and then I look up and there's this bus coming, and then it hit me. I remembered what I saw. Like this dude's about to jump in front of the bus. I got up to him. I got all the way up to him as he jumped, and I grabbed his collar and yanked him back onto the sidewalk and threw him against the little. There was a little wall or whatever over there.
Yeah.
And he got up and he was mad, and I was like, no. And then I explained to him, I was like, dude, I saw you in my head all the way in Gary, Indiana, and I fucking left my family and came out here to save your ass. So you're gonna listen to me. And then so me and him sat and talked, and I told him a little bit about myself, and he was interested in knowing that about me seeing him in my head and everything.
Hmm.
And yeah, I saved this dude's life,
I
and
figure
I saved another person too. I used to work with him. And
I've always thought that some, I guess you'd call it ESP.
yeah,
Like I've always believed, like my mother
hmm,
knows things that she could not possibly know.
right,
There's no way my mom could know some of the things she knows.
yeah, that's like me.
I mean, I was 1,000 miles away. Nobody knew anything about me, and yet my mother knew what was going on.
Right. Yeah, my mom does that too.
You know, it's like they're psychic and
Yeah.
they know.
Yeah, that's more than a motherly instinct, because like for them to know details,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah. There's a little bit more to that.
Especially when you haven't told anybody anything.
Right,
You know.
right, and just my mother is of course Native American,
Right.
as was my grandmother and my great grandmother. Um, but there's no way she could know. She could have known half the crap she knew.
Right.
Because nobody knew. They didn't even know my mom's name to call her and tell her nothing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's wild, man. Like it's a
Yeah.
gift, man.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I think some people have.
I
You
told my sister. She told me she was pregnant. I told her she was gonna have twins. They're gonna be girls. They're not gonna look alike. One's a blonde, one's a brunette, and the blonde one has something wrong with her eye. And then I told her that, I saw my older brother holding the twins, but they looked different. One was a boy and one was a girl, and it all happened. My sister had twin girls, a blonde and a brunette. The blonde one has like a lazy eye or whatever. And a couple years after they were born, some years later, my older brother had a set of twins, and it's a boy and a girl.
Nice.
Yeah, and I told him that was gonna happen, man. Like I've told my mom things about her future, and it happened. Uh, it's all, dude. I used to charge money.
I mean,
in my
it's
old neighborhood, because like at one point in time, I was so spot on. I could read. I don't read tarot cards. I take a regular deck of cards and I use the face cards in one of the aces. and I used to read people's cards, and I don't know how I did it, but I could just see it in the cards, dude. Like, and I was charging people money, $25 a pop, and I've never ever been wrong, not
Right.
one time ever.
Right.
It's wild. I don't know how it works, but
Well, like I said,
it's not something you could turn on and off either.
some people believe, and I do believe that humans are more. They have that ability, but I believe
Yeah.
most of us
Right.
try to turn it off.
Okay, so like the people with the, it's like, okay, so I was telling him earlier, I think it's something to do with when I was born, because I was born at the end of a lot of things. I was born December 20th, 1979. Okay, so 1979, the end of the 70s, December, the end of the year, the 20th, the end of the month, on a Thursday, the end of the week, at nighttime, at the end of the day.
The last day of fall.
Yeah, December 20th, the very last day of fall. I was born Sagittarius, the last of the zodiac. And speaking of that, I was born at the end of the cusp for it to change into the next
Into
zodiac.
the next generation, also.
Yeah, born at the end of an era.
Yeah.
And I looked it up. I don't remember what it was, so I can't really speak on it. But I was born at the end of something that was happening in the stars. I can't remember. I'd have to look it up.
But
again,
it's like I said, that was the end of Gen X.
Yeah.
That was the end of
Gen X. Yeah,
many things.
all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So I was born at the end of everything, and I think it was like cosmic that I got gifts that I have. You know what I mean? Like it was written in the stars for me to be like that, and I've always thought it was for a reason.
Well,
Dude, another one of the things I saw before it happened was Trump being president. I saw that 2 years before it happened.
yeah.
In my head, I saw him open up his a nightstand drawer, and then there was paperwork that he pulled out, and it had the American seal for the presidency
Yeah.
on it. And I was like, dude, when I like, snapped back to reality, I told my little brother, I was like, dude, Trump's gonna be president. And he was like, what? I was like, Donald Trump is gonna be president, dude. And then, lo and behold, there he is.
Well, like I said, I think a lot of it deals with bloodlines.
Please, in the comments, I don't want nobody getting political in our comments. Please, I can't stress that enough. I can't help what I saw. I know some of you don't like him, some of you do. I don't care either way. Okay, neither does he.
Nope.
All right, so we're not going to have no political arguing in our comments.
Yeah, we don't get political.
We'll boot you out. We
we're just-
will block you from being able to comment.
We're just trying to.
Yeah, we're having fun with podcasting. That's all we're doing.
Yeah. But I believe it's bloodlines.
Yeah, that's what I started out saying. Yeah,
Because
it's on
I-
both sides of my family.
Again, I've got my mom, my grandmother's, and when I was younger, I think I was a lot more in tune to it until I grew up. You know what I mean?
I'm a Norwegian Romanian gypsy, dude.
where I was able to block a lot of that out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
See, I never wanted to block it out. I've been this way as long as I can remember, since I was a toddler. I've never wanted to block it out. I want to grasp it and get to know it and discover why I am this way.
My problem, but my problem was I could always sense when something bad was coming.
Okay, but everybody could do that. They just don't know what it is. A lot of people just don't know.
Yeah, but that's my point. I know I can feel it like days and days before it happens.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Yeah, my dad does that too.
And I know something bad's coming. And the problem for me was when I was younger, nothing, like, I could see all this bad coming, but nothing good. It was never anything good.
Right.
So for me, as I got older, trying to block it out, there's been a few times where I could say, okay, I just have a feeling.
Yeah.
That you know what I mean? I know that feeling is good or bad. And it was mostly bad growing up. Very rare wasn't anything good. Very rarely. So as I got older, I think I just tried to block it all out.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not the first that I've heard say that. A lot of people try to block it out.
Yeah.
But not me though, man. You know what me and my dad do, man? We could look at the stars and just kind of know things. I don't know what it is about the stars. I love the sky. I'm always looking at the sky, whether it's day or night. But yeah, man, we're able to look at the stars and just I don't know what it trances us out or something.
And I think most humans have it.
Yeah.
I watched this.
I believe everybody has the ability.
I seen this show one time, and they were talking about there's these things all around, like little machine things, is what they look like.
Okay.
And what they do is you walk by, it records your brainwaves, and they're all over the world. They put them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, they put these things all over in every country. You don't even know they're there. They just bloop. They kind of take. They don't read your thoughts, but your brainwave activity.
They are in our pockets. You ever thought about something and opened up your Facebook and boom, that's the first thing you see?
Right.
Is exactly what you were thinking about, and it's not been thought of in years and years.
This is back in 2001. Now, the guy that was doing it, the doctor guy or scientist guy that designed all this, he went back 2 weeks before 9/11 and looked at his brainwave, the brainwave activity of the entire world. Okay. It shot up by like 60%, or it was a massive amount.
Right.
Because it's like people, their brains were sensing something was coming. They just didn't know what. You know what I mean? So I do think that humans have an ability that most of us, I think, turn off.
Yeah. You see, I've heard other things too about, it's not machines, but it's more like towers.
Yeah.
Like, with the 5G and stuff like that.
5G is bad.
I've heard that they're using that to put stuff into your head.
I mean,
and make you have thoughts.
I mean,
and then plus like
the thing, okay, think about it like this. If you could go outside, honestly and truly, and you can Google this, and say you can see a radio wave.
Okay.
It would block the entire sun out. There's so many radio waves in the air.
Oh yeah.
It's radios, satellites, think about it, every single cell phone on the planet. You would not see sunlight.
Right.
It would darken our skies.
I know they're in the air because you know what white noise is, right? I don't know if you guys know what white noise is, but it's like, well, back in the day it used to be with TV static,
Right.
But now it's more or less when like a fan is on or like a heater is running or some kind of machinery and it's running for a long time and you're sitting there quietly and then there's no other noises. If you pay attention, man, you can hear radios and TVs and you're not even nowhere near one.
Sometimes.
I can't all the time. I always hear it sounds like it's real muffled and low. And my mom got a hold of me not that long ago and asked me, she was like, "Hey man, did you ever notice that when something's running, you can hear a TV or something?" I was like, "Yeah, all the time." And that's definitely from white noise. And a lot of people think that you're hearing spirits, but you're not. You're hearing radio waves.
Yeah,
you're picking up frequencies.
Yeah, and the problem is all these frequencies, like these people who sleep with their phones by their heads.
Yeah.
That is extremely bad.
Yeah, that's bad for your brain.
That is
I don't recommend it. Bad. I wouldn't recommend it.
Very, very, very bad. The radio waves can cause all kinds of disruptions in your brain.
Yep.
You should sleep with your phone far away.
It can make you act different and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. They bombarded our world with so many different radio waves.
They are now in control.
Right. So I mean, you really should research like the 5G towers when they were coming out. If you remember, birds were dropping out of the air dead.
Yeah. And I thought that to be biblical because it said something about like a third of the fowl of the air is going to just drop to and it did. And even fish came swiping up on the
5G shore. Just, I mean, that is a very bad thing. But I guess, they say they found dampeners and things like that. But even then, I mean, you're playing with like in steel mills. Did you know that steel mills use frequency dampeners?
I did not know that.
Because when you're producing steel, it creates a frequency that is so bad.
Right.
Right.
And it's like a vibration.
Yeah, it can kill things.
Yeah.
It can
Yeah.
kill fish, birds, animals, wildlife, doesn't matter. So the production of steel creates a frequency, and in the mills they use frequency dampeners to dampen that heavily
Yeah.
so it doesn't harm the environment around it.
Do you know they've known about this for I don't know how long, but a very long time they've known about this. Because if you're from the 80s, you'll remember this. People, when somebody does something dumb or says something stupid, somebody else will be like, "Did you play under power lines when you were a kid?"
Yeah,
Because it makes you not smart.
frequencies.
You know what I mean? It fries your brains.
Mm-hmm. Everything that we do, every single thing, whether it's the power in your home, the power lines around your house, driving a car, doesn't matter. Every single thing is frequency. And if you don't believe me, the Great Pyramid in Giza or any other pyramid around the world, choose one and look it up, produces a certain frequency.
Yes, it does. And some people to these days believe that they use those frequencies to move those big, heavy rocks that we can't move with our machinery today.
Yep.
They believe that the vibration was so strong that it would like make it float. It would seem like it's floating, and they could just push it with no effort.
There's what they call a healing frequency. Like cancer cells.
Yeah.
Between, I think
it's got to be like so many hertz or something.
I think it's between 300 and 550 hertz, something to that effect. And it'll destroy cancer.
Yep. Yeah, it's not able to handle that frequency.
Yeah, it just destroys it, obliterates it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, every single thing is frequency in the entire world.
Yes, it is.
Some is harmful.
That's why a lot of the, I think it's Chinese, and a lot of the monks and stuff, they use gongs.
Mm-hmm.
in those bowls. You know what I'm talking about? They're like singing bowls or whatever they're called. They use that tone and that vibration for healing.
Yeah,
you know?
They say a lot of that is they got those frequencies from the gods, is what they claim. Now, what that means, we don't know. But frequency can do some amazing things or some
damaging
things.
Yeah.
So
it's like water.
Yeah.
Water can do amazing things, but it can also just obliterate everything.
Yeah.
You
so
know?
I mean, your whole world is frequency.
Yep.
Everything
it's
around
the difference
you.
between a drop and a tsunami.
Every single brain on the entire planet runs at a different frequency.
Yep.
It's the way
we all have electricity inside of us, and everything.
That's it. And electricity produces frequency
and energy. Yes.
So yeah, we're all. I mean, it's crazy.
If we can just learn to control that.
Some of those frequencies, though, and like I was saying, and I think that's where that bloodline comes in.
Yeah.
Is that those certain
we're just
frequencies pick up on things.
We're tuned in. That's in my blood, you know.
Yeah. So I mean,
you know what I thought was interesting? The Last Airbender. Well, some people haven't, but a lot of people have. It's where they're able to control the elements of the earth. You know, the fire, wind, water, earth. Dude, and they kind of explain that's how they do it is by
their frequency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a real thing. It's obviously fiction, but I think that's very interesting, and maybe that there's something to it.
I mean, you don't know. In 1,000 years, everything will be different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So what's the next evolutionary step for 1,000 years?
Is it going to be our brains? You know.
You see what I mean? I mean, we don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we hope you guys enjoyed tonight's podcast.
Yeah, we just was kind of talking. We didn't really have nothing planned out.
We just wanted to kind of bring you guys up to speed on everything going on around
with the paranormal.
Here. But if you guys, as always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything, let us know.
We'll get back to you on here, or we'll message you back until we can't, or one of the two.
That's it right there. So we hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show.
Yep, I'll see you.